Hi guys, it's Blackie and welcome back to the channel. Okay, today we're going to do a little bit of a review and a little bit of talking about upgrading our gear. Now those of you who have followed my channel for a while know I love camping in the winter, but I don't like getting cold like nobody else. And getting out here and doing the camping and etc. is just, this is the time of the year. Because I can always find a way to tip a trick to get warm. But most of my year down here in the deep south, the summertime is just the heat. So you can't get out of the heat, but you can find a way to get out of the cold. And so I'm a big fan of winter and fall camping. Now, I have the one wind system, and I've used a lot of one wind gear, and so I've got a new piece of gear, but I'll get to that in a second. First off, let's talk about the temperature we're talking. We're talking about down in the 30s, the 20s, the teens. That's the target area that I'm looking for. This year, at the camp out I did in February, it got down to 6 degrees. And so that was the coldest, my personal best, that I've been down to. And I used this sleeping bag as part of my one wind gear. Now this is a U.S. military 49 down mountain bag. I use either this or I use the MS sleep system. Both of them are big and bulky and heavy. Now this sleeping bag with a cover on it weighs right at, we'll just call it 8 pounds. Right there. That's 8 pounds of sleeping bag. Now it's wonderfully warm, and I love it when I'm in the hammock. I've got my double underquilts on. I'm inside that hot tent where I'm not running a fire, but I'm inside that hot tent, so I've sealed off the wind all the way around me. And then I get up there and I put that big old sleeping bag up on top of me. And it holds the warmth that I want, but it's heavy. And that means that if it gets any opportunity to fall off the side of that hammock, it's gone. So I have to tie the foot cords to the ridge line at the bottom to keep that, so when you shift over, it won't just roll off of you and fall out of the hammock. I've got to keep it tucked in around me, and I use it as a top quilt. However, the top of it, which would be the hood section when you would lay down in it as a mummy bag, is right here in your face. And no matter how you move it, it's always right here in your face, which means you're breathing on it and you're getting it wet. So, feedback from you guys of talking about winter camping and everything, and I have heard many of you tell me, Blackie, get a down top quilt. That's what you need, is a down top quilt. Okay, I took your advice. I went and looked at the One Wind site, and they do now offer down top quilts. So I got one. It comes with this compression bag, and we'll put it into that in a minute. And it says it is a camping down top quilt, 1.1 ounce nylon ripstop, graphene fabric, 800 plus down feather insulation, because y'all gonna ask the technical questions. It also came with this addition, which we'll get into in a minute. Here is the top quilt, fluffed out in the big storage bag. Now it was 8 pounds for the other one. How much is this? About 1.5 pounds. This is rated as a 0 to -20 top quilt. That means that this should be equal to that in warmth, and will fit into that stuff sack. Take a look at it. Now, the reason, for those of you who don't know, you want a big storage bag is you do not want to leave down compressed because it will take that set and you'll lose the loft. Loft is how thick it is. And so you always want to leave your down bags and down equipment, like jackets and stuff, unstuffed. I mean, something like this where it's loose, so it can get air and it stays fluffy, okay? When you compress it down tight, it's great for packing and carrying, but it compresses it. Now the old military bag right there, I don't carry it, I don't leave it this way. I have a great big huge laundry bag like this that I open it up into at home. Even better is to hang your down sleeping bags in like a closet or something, so that it hangs full length, and every 6 months turn around, go the other way. So if it's head down, about 5-6 months, I'll turn it head up as I check on it. That will keep those feathers and all from settling to one end, etc., and be more uniform. This is down insulation, okay? Now, talk about this storage bag for a second. Down here on the bottom of the storage bag, there's a couple of pockets. That way you can take these accessories like this, and I'll show this in a minute. This allows it to become part of a ground pad system if you're going to ground pound. And you can stuff them into these little bitty pockets here on the bottom when your fingers ain't slick. And I mean, man, this bag is silk, dude. I mean, this bag is seriously silk. And so stuff it up in there, so you can stuff them in there for storage, so you keep your whole system together. Okay. This is your top quilt. Okay. It's actually a blanket that has this drawstring at the bottom that you can pull up tight with 2 shock cords, so you can gather up this bottom. It then has a snap, so it don't come open, a zipper and a snap, and this is what goes along the bottom for your legs. Now let me get it out here on the hood flat, and we'll take a look at it. But I want you to see what the material looks like. It's very slick, very nice. Okay, here it is laid out. Now, it has a wide collar up here. It has a drawstring, so you can draw this end down tight to fit more around your neck, okay? Flip it over. It has a series of buckles. They're just simple little flat clicks to hook it together. So you could technically use it as a sleeping bag. And also, here inside of it, there's a pocket right here that you lift up, and the pocket goes back down inside, so that you can put a phone or something right here, like your alarm clock, to wake you up, okay? And then down here at the bottom, we have a snap and the zipper. Now let's open it up flat. Come up here, unsnap, take the zipper free, pull the shock cords back out to maximum, and it lays out and becomes a big blanket. This will give it versatility, so I can use it on a cot or something like that, as well as a down comforter, as well as I can open it up to air it out, dry it in case it gets a little damp. And you can see that's a pretty good size right there. Plenty big enough. And it wants to loft about that thick all the way through it. Now, as you know, how you're supposed to do a down bag is you're supposed to open it up like this and sit there and fluff it up. Get some air into it, because that's what you're doing, is you're trapping air. Now, to turn it back into a sleeping bag, a top quilt, all I have to do is come around and hook up the zipper. run it up. Now, why you zip it such a short? When you put it as a quilt, you're going to put it over you, which means you're going to put your feet up in that foot box, and you want it zipped up to about your knees. So you got a place to move your feet, and the rest just drapes around you. See? Now with these little snaps, you can click it underneath you to turn it into basically a sleeping bag. So if you wanted to get in and wiggle the whole thing up on you, you could do it. But most of us are just going to put our feet into it and then roll to one side and tuck it under the hammock, roll to the other side, tuck it under the hammock, and you're there. But it does have those snaps, so you could use it as a sleeping bag. Now down here on the foot, you grab the shock cord and start pulling. Till you draw this end up tight. And then you've got enough shock cord there, you can kind of poke it out a little bit and just go around it like that a few times to help seal it up. And you got a pair of snaps right there where this end is going to come over and snap just like that. Now let's see that up close. Whoops. See how it just seals up? All right. And then here is that foot area that you put your feet into it. Now I'll get into it in a minute to show you. This makes a big round. Look how big that is. It's going to be the size of a beach ball at your feet. You could leave your boots on technically, but you won't have any feet tightness down there. I'll put it that way. And I'm looking forward to that in a hammock. I hate putting a mummy bag in a hammock because my feet always feel like they're bent wrong no matter what I do. This way I'll have a big foot box. Okay. Now I would come along and these snaps, which are really just connectors, they're not really snaps. They're designed to hold it, but I feel also you could make them pop free if you needed to, if you had to get out in a hurry. And then up here at the top, there's a snap, just like down there at the bottom, double snaps. So you could snap it double, like that, and then draw down this end, just like this, to whatever side, and the shock cord's on both sides, to whatever size opening you needed to fit around this way. And when you turn it over, it's just a great big sleeping bag then. A big down sleeping bag, and you look how tall that is. I mean, that's that tall. Just that. That's the reason it's a 0 to -20 bag. This is made for you guys up yonder in cold country. That you want to be able to camp in your hammock in the winter. This is the way to go. And that's going to allow me. I've already got double underquilt. And I will probably, if this serves really, really well, I may invest in getting me, they also now make a down underquilt. The down underquilt and the down top quilt, I should be good to any temperature I'm ever going to encounter. But the idea of this is it's there to trap the heat and keep you warm. Okay. So, I'm going to lay down on the ground in a minute and show you, but I want to show you how it works with a ground pad if you want to just use it as a sleeping bag. Okay? Okay, now that I've got it started, I'm just going to simply pull it onto my pad, scooting it down, just like this. And I could technically leave this on this pad. I don't have to take it off. Now remember, the foot is going to be zipped up anyway, so I'm just going to scoot this up a ways, like this. Now, taking my top quilt, I'm going to lay it up there. The clip that's already there, I'm going to open up. And I'm going to clip it onto the pad. Okay. My sleeping bag. Just in the foot. Folding this end up where I can sit down. Work my way in. Full sleeping bag. Tucked down all the way around me. Those clips are holding it right down. Since I've rolled this up, it's perfect size to go around my chest, right here. Oh yeah, I'm already feeling heat. This will have to be used in a ground pounding video, which will be a good opportunity to use that other one wind solo shelter and then this, and let's see how it does for an overnight. Yeah, completely tucked down to the pad. I'm good to go. Now see if I can roll over. Yep, it's gonna fit me just fine. Plenty of room left at the feet. Oh yeah, I got full room with my boots on at my feet. I'm fully tucked down in behind me and here in front of me. I can wiggle my hand out. There's a fold all the way around me to trap warm air. So I'm in a sleeping bag on top of my ground pad. Get out, all I gotta do is lift up. If I wanna unhook the snap, I can to get out sideways if I want to. Just like that, or I can re-snap it. Either way. Yeah, this is gonna be good. Okay, now let's put it into its supplied stuff sack to see how we would carry it. Now, it may not matter, but I'm gonna ungather the foot to relax it a little bit. I can always cinch this right back up when I get to the field. There. Now, and the stuff sack has a waterproof lining in it, which means this should do real good to keep everything dry. Alright, we're going to start. I'm going to stuff in from this way. Squeeze the air out, stuff it in. Squeeze the air out, stuff it in. When you get about halfway, squeeze down and stop a minute, kind of do this. Deflate it ahead of you a little bit. Not that hard. It's not very difficult. I'm not having to struggle. You don't want to rush. You want to squeeze the air out. Squeeze some more air. Lay the tongue over the top. Grab the cinch cord. Pull it up. Make sure everything's tucked in. Squeeze as much air out as you can. Put a 1/2 inch there for security. Now, these are got the buckles and the loops have got a sewed in so it won't come out, which is good for compressing this down. Okay, making sure everything is straight, laying flat, and this comes as an X across the bottom. Okay, We're going to take this additional cord and stick it in that little hole. Just like that. And then we're going to start, pull just a little. Go one side and go the other. Okay, now let's compress it. Compress it, I'm going to put something, get it, and I'm going to lean on it. Squeeze as much air out as I can. Rotate. There it is. All squished down, nice and flat. I just noticed it's got a tiny little sewed in loop right there where you can put a carabiner or something on it to clip it. Now you can take these extra straps, and they're sewed loops, double that end in half, stick it up under there. Okay, got it hooked up in its compression sack. We'll move the needle to prove it is moving. What's that say? From my eyes, it's less than 2 pounds for that. 2 pounds versus 8 pounds. Yeah. If it'll hold to the same temperatures that that big bag will do, which it should, it's rated to 0 and -20, wearing proper clothing. So we've got a winter camp out coming out where I'll give it the test inside the it'll be a 1-win hammock, 1-win underquilts, plus a 1-win hot tent around it. Let's see how low I can go with it and still be comfortable. Guys, 1-win is a great company. It really is. And yes, I am an ambassador for them. I'll say that straight up. I was using their products. I liked their products long before I agreed to be that. So I'm not just trying to sell you something. I'm talking about my gear and what I'm doing. And for weight, if I can go from 8 pounds to 2 pounds and do the same job, why wouldn't I? I have stayed away. I've had down bags in the past. I have a down bag now that's a North Face that I use for a top quilt. However, it's only rated down to the 30s. It's much smaller and lighter. But when it's compressed, it's about, oh, I'd say about 75% of this volume right here, and about the same weight. So with this 800 count down in that big old bag, trapping that much heat, and it's a water repellent shell, and then so it keeps moisture off of it and etc., and keeps it from your breathing getting it wet that way. Really light. Hey, why not? Now the price, the going price at the time of me getting it was $297 plus shipping and all. It's not cheap. It's not a, you know, a super cheap. This may be the most expensive thing that I've ever got from 1-win. But I set up, you know, I run their hammocks, which are $50, $60, $70. Fantastic hammock. I've ran their tarps, fantastic tarps at a quarter the price of a lot of the competition. And I've run their earlier top quilt. I've used it. That acts like a swag roll. It's got a neck over it. It's like a big poncho, which becomes into like this. It converts to being a top quilt. I've used that in good weathers before, and I've used it as a poncho liner in cold weather to put over and then put a U.S. Army poncho over the top. Now 1-win has brought out that solo shelter I did recently, and so with that and this, I'm going to try to do a ground pounding cold weather camp. Let's see if we can do it when it's going to be down in the 30s or something, and see if I can carry everything to get it done for the lightest weight possible. Let's see what I can do with it. Hope you've enjoyed this, guys. If you enjoyed this content, please hit that like, share, and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Till next time, guys, I'm Blackie wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.